Told you, coffee's always good for you in the morning. It is Friday, thank goodness. I've got some really cool stuff for y'all to see tonight. And let's get started. Today I want to talk about some stuff that I haven't talked about yet on this channel, and that is firearm related stuff. Okay, first things first, what I have here is a Glock 43. It's a Gen 4 9mm single stack semi-automatic pistol. You gotta do the most important thing. There are no bullets in here. Alright, slide. You'll see there's no bullets. I'll put my finger in it. There's nothing in here at all. Done. Today, I have some of probably the most easiest things to replace on your pistol. And these are all for functionality. Not really for aesthetics, except for one thing, but that's kind of gotta have. The first one I have is a slide stop extension. The reason why is because if you look down this, you'll notice that this slide stop doesn't stick out very far from the pistol. So once the slide's locked, it's kind of hard to hit that, and I have troubles hitting it, so I kind of have to use a lot of force just to get that down. So I wanted something that stuck out a little bit farther. It's a little bit easier for my thumb to hit. The next one I have is a magazine release button. This one sticks out a little bit farther than the stock one. I'll show you the stock one there. You can see it doesn't stick out very far. So with me being a lefty, it doesn't stick out a whole lot. So I want something that sticks out a little bit farther. The most hardest mod here is this. This goes in the grip. It's just a grip plug. And finally, the most fun one. This is the Texas backstrap replacement. Because I'm in Texas, I gotta have this. Okay, so let's go over a few of the tools that you'll need. First up is some sort of punching device. This is just an Allen wrench from my RC car collection. It's got a blunt tip to it because you'll have a pin here that holds your slide lock and some other little mechanism. You'll also need some sort of pointy tool device. So this is made out of a stiff piece of wire. I just hammered down the end flat, similar to a flat-bladed screwdriver, just it's smaller. I've found the screwdrivers usually have sharp edges, so they could mar up the inside surface. So this has all nice, smooth, rounded edges, so it should be good there. Maybe a pair of pliers if you can't quite grab pins. The first thing to do is to always make sure it's clear. We're going to dry fire it. Now I'm going to disassemble it. This is super easy for Glocks. I'm going to wrap my hand around it like this. I'm going to pull back just slightly, and I'm going to pull the two takedown pins on either side and slide the entire upper off. Going to set that aside for now. First one I'm going to tackle is the magazine release button. You can see it sticks out here. So I have the new one here. Inside, you'll see that it has a little piece of metal wire, and you'll see the pin, and you'll see how all of that moves. So what you're going to do, what I found is pretty good. You're going to take your little metal utensil or whatever punch or flat blade screwdriver you have. I found that if you actually push it in and then pull the pin out, the way it works, I'll show you here, you'll see it's got a slot and a little hole. What you want is to get it to the slot so it comes out easier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push the magazine release button, put my tool under it, and then I'm going to push the magazine release button to the other side to get to that channel, and then it pops right out. So that's what it looks like. So now I'm going to push out the magazine release button the opposite way that you would think to pull it out. And this part takes a little finagling to get it out because the little spring catches on everything. Okay, and now I have it out. Set that aside. Grab my new one here, and since I'm a lefty, I'm actually going to put the push button on the right side of the firearm. So I'm going to put this in exactly the way I got the other one out. Going to put the spring behind it. Okay, and it should slide right in pretty easy. Now I'm going to put the spring back in like I did the other one. Just push it to the side and snap it in. Okay, now that you have that done, do a little function check. You can even put in a magazine, and it should drop out just like that. Next up, we're going to remove this little pin. Pretty easy to do. You take your punch in one hand and your slide lock, you'll press down on the front of it. The reason being is due to this little spring, it puts a little tension on a notch on the pin that goes through this hole. So what you're going to do is you're going to push down on it a little bit. You're going to apply some pressure, and you're going to push out your pin. This might take a little finagling, but it should still come out pretty easy. So it still won't come out. So we're going to take our little tool here, and we'll pry up on this little device. Okay, you'll pull that out, set that aside, and you'll take out your slide lock. Pretty easy. So let's go ahead and compare the two. So you'll see on your left is the bigger one, and the one on the right is the stock one. You can see it's smaller in size. It also doesn't stick out nearly as far. So hopefully that'll give us the friction that I need to drop the slide pretty easily. So we're going to assemble this just the same way that we took it apart. You're going to put the slide lock in, make sure my holes line up here. I'm going to take this little metal bracket, I'm going to drop that in. Okay, now that everything's lined up, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see right where the hole's not centered, that's due to the slide lock. So now I'm going to put the pin in. You can get it started, you'll feel it get a little tight. That's when you start jiggling the slide lock a little bit, and you push it till it clicks. like so. Now it's good to go. Okay, up next is probably one of the hardest ones. That is the grip plug. So you can see this little void here that comes factory. If I put my empty magazine in it, you can see it has a little hole that can fill it with dirt and debris and stuff like that. So you can jump on Amazon and find this little plug. What you do is you line it up with the hole and you push it in. Pretty simple. It sits flush, nice and tidy. It doesn't affect the way your magazines go in. Not only does it help with the appearance, but it also keeps out any dust and junk that could potentially get in there. I do want to add that the grip plug is from a company off Amazon called Fixer. They've got a bunch of different stuff between the grip plugs. It has a lot of the back plates. It also has, one of the things that I'm looking at is the little takedown notch thingy here. They have one that's extended. I'm going to see if I can get that one and potentially do a whole review on that as well. And that concludes with the lower. So now let's go to the upper. So I have my Texas logo back piece here. You can see the plastic one. It's plastic and metal. This one is all aluminum. I had to get the Texas because I'm from Texas. I live in Texas. I gotta have the Texas. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna take your little trigger mechanism, this little gizmo here. You're gonna pull it back till it clicks. So inside, you take your little punch tool. Inside is a little spring-loaded detent. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put your tool in there and you're gonna push down. The best way I've found to do this is to set the barrel on a good steady sturdy surface that won't scratch the barrel. You'll take your tool, you'll insert into the hole, you'll push down till you can't push down any farther. It doesn't take very much pressure. Put your thumb over the back part and you're going to slide it off, slowly but surely. And then once you get it going, you can take off your tool and continue sliding out. Keep your thumb on top of it. There are springs and detents that could pop out. You can see them here. They're under spring tension. So you don't want them flying out across the room. You have to find it. It's a pain to find little itty bitty parts in carpet. Okay, now that that's out, you can see it's plastic and metal. Garbage. We don't need that. And now we're going to take our aluminum one. You're going to install it just the same way you took it out. You're going to start it into its little grooves. I like to take the tool, start pushing down the little detent. Okay, you move it a little bit farther. Now there are two, so you got to push the other one in. And you're going to go all the way till it clicks and snaps in, like so. It'll sit flush with the top, and we're good to go. Now that we're done with the upper and the lower, all you got to do is put it back together and do some function checks. Okay, that works just fine. Gonna rack it. The slide lock works. There you go. Okay, now we're gonna do it. Release a magazine. Oh yeah. That is definitely what you would want in a magazine. So much easier to be able to put in a magazine, lock the slide back, drop it down, and, you know, replace your magazine or whatever. So it's very much easier. Previously, it sucked. So, the slide lock is a Vickers Tactical. Pretty good part. It was $28. So far after initially installing it, everything seems to work out pretty good. Obviously, racking it a few times, it's gotten some scratches on it, but that's going to happen regardless. So there you go. Works great. The magazine release button. That is by Crux Ordnance. It was $25. I got everything at Trinity Ordnance. They are here locally in Fort Worth. I'll show you their address, their phone number, and everything like that. They hooked me up. Pretty good group of guys there. So that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this tutorial fairly easy to follow, and hopefully it can help you out if you're replacing parts in your Glock 43. I prefer to have my firearm's pretty stock other than a few ergonomic issues such as the magazine release, the slide lock, the backstrap, and the grip plug. I do that on most of my pistols. It just improves the functionality overall. It makes it easier if I'm wearing gloves because I do like to go shooting when it's colder out. Definitely beats the summer heat here in Texas. But it just helps out just in case you get into emergency. You really don't want to be fumbling for the controls. For the slide release, I really don't want to have to come over here and manually look at it and make sure that I'm able to drop it. If it's up, I just want to be able to just drop it down without issues. That's all I got for today. It's time to head to the range.